Julie Andrews, the legendary woman who scooped up countless awards over the last 70 years, left her fans heartbroken when she shared some tough truths about her life. Even though she's nearly 90, her life still carries a lot of sadness, and that's what truly tugs at our hearts. But today we'll uncover some mysterious and touching details about Julie's journey. Born Julia Elizabeth Wells in England back in 1935, Julie Andrews, as we all know her, grew up under the influence of her mother, Barbara Ward Morris, and her stepdad, Ted Andrews, both performers in their own right. But despite their showbiz background, Julie's early years were anything but easy. Her mother, Barbara, divorced Julie's biological father just as World War II was kicking off, and soon after she remarried Ted. It was with Ted that Julie first started taking singing lessons, and it didn't take long for her exceptional voice to shine through. Her vocal range and beautiful tone were immediately clear. Before long, Julie was performing alongside her parents in their vaudeville act, showcasing her extraordinary talent. This all unfolded against the backdrop of the London Blitz, an incredibly tough time. The Blitz, which lasted from September 1940 to May 1941, saw Germany's Luftwaffe targeting key locations across the UK, including London, where Julie spent her childhood. For many children like Julie, the safest option was to be evacuated to the countryside, away from the bombings. But for those who stayed, life in London was a constant battle against fear and danger. People relied on bomb shelters for protection, but the threat was ever present. The city endured food shortages and rationing as resources dwindled, and the Blitz had a devastating impact, with over 43,000 lives lost and more than 1 million buildings damaged or destroyed. The stress and fear of those wartime years were felt by everyone, including young Julie. Life for Julie Andrews was far from easy, especially with her mother, Barbara Ward Morris, and stepdad, Ted Andrews, battling alcoholism and often being abusive, not just to Julie, but to each other too. Ted eventually adopted Julie, which added another layer of complexity to their already troubled family dynamic as they all struggled with their personal issues. Despite all the chaos around her, Julie's remarkable talent began to shine through. She took to the stage with her parents, performing live and even entertaining the troops during such a challenging time in history. One key moment would forever change her life. Julie had the incredible honor of singing for Queen Elizabeth, who would later become the Queen Mother. Shortly after, she had another unforgettable experience. She curtsied before Queen Elizabeth II after her coronation. In her book, Julie recalls the Queen Mother's kind words, "You sang beautifully tonight." It was in that moment that Julie got her first taste of fame, and her heart swelled with pride and joy from the royal recognition. But even with these shining moments of success, tragedy never seemed far away. During this same period, Julie's maternal grandparents died young, both suffering from a terrible disease. Her grandfather had contracted syphilis and unknowingly passed it on to her grandmother, which made their deaths all the more painful for Julie to bear. The grief from losing her grandparents was made even more difficult knowing the cause of their suffering. Julie's mother, Barbara, had her own troubled past, growing up in a family marked by her father's alcoholism and abuse, which created a cycle of pain and dysfunction. Despite all these challenges, young Julie, often called the pigtail prodigy, showed an extraordinary talent early on, and by 1946, she was already carving out a career that was a mix of pride and sacrifice for her family. By the time Julie was still just a teenager, she had already started working professionally and was even helping to support her family financially. A pretty incredible thing for a young girl. Her journey into the world of entertainment kicked off with a memorable radio appearance in Britain, where she showed off her amazing singing skills alongside her stepdad, Ted Andrews. Not long after, at the age of 12, she made her debut in London's West End, marking another huge milestone in her career. One of her proudest moments during this time was when she sang for King George VI at the prestigious London Palladium, becoming the youngest performer ever to take part in a Royal Command performance. However, Julie's dream of hitting the big screen would have to wait. Despite a screen test with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM, a major Hollywood studio, Julie was passed over, though she didn't let it stop her. She kept busy during the holidays, performing in British pantomimes, beloved theatrical productions that were an annual tradition. In these performances, she took on iconic roles like Little Red Riding Hood and characters in Aladdin and Jack and the Beanstalk. Julie's dedication to her craft kept her performing non-stop, both with her parents and as a solo artist. But this demanding schedule came at a price. She never had the chance to finish high school or pursue a college education. One of the most devastating events in Julie's teenage years, which she shared in her memoir Home, happened when she was just 15. At that time, her stepdad, Ted Andrews, spiraled deeper into alcoholism and started displaying deeply troubling behavior toward her. Julie described the experience as a horrifying ordeal, one that would leave a permanent scar on her. The trauma Julie experienced was so intense that she felt she had no choice but to take extreme measures to protect herself. Fearing for both her safety and her mental health, she installed a bolt on her bedroom door, a clear symbol of the emotional wall she had to put up to safeguard herself. It was a heartbreaking reminder of the harsh reality she faced within her own home, her supposed sanctuary. Even more troubling was the fact that this wasn't an isolated incident. Julie's memories show that this wasn't the first time Ted Andrews had behaved inappropriately towards her, making the whole situation even more devastating. At just 18 years old, Julie found herself on the verge of a life-changing opportunity in the theater. The director of a London production of The Boyfriend was captivated by her performance and saw her immense potential. He decided to cast her in the lead role for the American version of the play, marking the beginning of a new chapter. Moving to America was a huge decision for Julie, leaving behind her family and homeland to venture into the unknown. But this bold move would prove to be a game-changer for her career. Her move to the United States launched her on an extraordinary journey, one that would eventually make her a household name and a beloved icon in entertainment. Her performance in The Boyfriend earned her widespread acclaim, setting the stage for her success in American theater. But even with this rising fame, Julie's most incredible opportunity was yet to come. Not long after her success in The Boyfriend, she was offered the role of Eliza Doolittle in a professional production of My Fair Lady. This was a huge honor, as she became the youngest actress ever to take on such an iconic role, showcasing her extraordinary talent. However, even with all her accomplishments, Julie still faced challenges. Her co-star, the actor she was meant to share the stage with, doubted her abilities, casting a shadow of skepticism over their partnership. This created a difficult dynamic and added a major obstacle to Julie's path, despite the fact that she had already proven herself to be a gifted performer. Despite the doubts and challenges, Julie pushed through and proved her immense talent, eventually winning over her critics and mesmerizing audiences with her portrayal of Eliza Doolittle. In her memoir, she openly shares how Rex Harrison, the established stage actor cast as Henry Higgins, was less than impressed by her being chosen for the role. In fact, Harrison was so opposed to Julie's casting that he actively campaigned for her to be replaced by another actress. His resistance cast a shadow over the production and threatened to derail Julie's rising career. Thankfully, the director, Moss Hart, stood firm in his support of Julie. Rather than giving in to Harrison's objections, Hart recognized Julie's potential and became a guiding force. He took Julie under his wing, providing mentorship and support to help her rise to the occasion. Hart's unwavering belief in her abilities, despite Harrison's doubts, was key in helping Julie shine. After intensive coaching, she began to truly embody Eliza, showing a transformation that earned the admiration and applause of the audience. Hart's confidence in Julie was so strong that he once told his wife, "She's going to be just fine. She has that terrible British strength that makes you wonder how they ever lost India." Julie's personal life also had a beautiful story of its own. Her relationship with Tony Walton, who became her husband, started in a charming and unexpected way. When Julie was just 12, she had a role in the Christmas pantomime Humpty Dumpty, and it was during this performance that she first crossed paths with Tony. Seated in the front row, Tony was captivated by Julie's performance as an egg. Her talent left a lasting impression on him, and that magical encounter sparked the beginning of their friendship, which would eventually blossom into a heartwarming love story. Not long after their memorable meeting in the pantomime, Julie Andrews and Tony Walton found themselves chatting on a train ride home. Their connection was instant, and they quickly discovered that they shared a deep love for theater and the arts. This chance encounter became the foundation of a friendship that would last a lifetime, with a story that seemed straight out of a romance. Just 2 days after that fateful train ride, Tony showed up at Julie's doorstep, and from then on, they were inseparable. Over the years, Their bond only deepened as they shared their dreams and love for their craft. In 1959, Julie and Tony's relationship culminated in marriage. Their affection for each other was clear in the small, meaningful gestures they exchanged, with Tony especially smitten by his new bride. As a symbol of their love, Tony designed their wedding rings to match a gold brooch he had given Julie, a personal touch that highlighted their deep connection. The couple's happiness grew even more when they welcomed their daughter Emma into the world in 1962, completing their loving family. Professionally, their talents were also intertwined. Tony played a crucial role in designing the sets for Mary Poppins in 1964, showcasing the beautiful harmony between their personal and professional lives. But as their careers in Hollywood gained momentum, the pressures and demands of the entertainment industry began to take a toll on their relationship. The constant spotlight and scrutiny posed challenges, testing the strength of their marriage. Julie's success as Eliza Doolittle in the stage productions of My Fair Lady, both on Broadway and in London, seemed to make her a natural choice for the role in the film version. When My Fair Lady was adapted into a film, it was a role Julie had truly made her own on stage. However, fate dealt a cruel blow. The decision to cast the lead was in the hands of studio boss Jack Warner, who shocked everyone by choosing Audrey Hepburn for the role of Eliza Doolittle over Julie Andrews. The decision caused an uproar in Hollywood and became a major scandal of the time, leaving many fans and industry insiders stunned by the snub. But Hollywood had another surprise in store for Julie. In a heartwarming turn of events, Walt Disney, a visionary in the entertainment world, was determined to cast her as Mary Poppins, a role that would cement her as a beloved icon. Disney had long dreamed of bringing the magical character of Mary Poppins to the big screen, but finding the right actress had proven difficult, until he saw Julie's mesmerizing performance as Queen Guinevere in Camelot on Broadway. This moment would change everything for both of them. However, there was a twist. Julie was already 4 months pregnant with her first child, which could have put the role in jeopardy. For any other actress, it might have been a deal breaker. But Walt Disney, known for his creativity and compassion, saw the incredible talent and potential in Julie. He didn't hesitate to make a heartwarming decision. Disney offered to delay the start of filming to accommodate her pregnancy, understanding the importance of both her career and her family. This gesture of kindness not only showed his belief in her but also mirrored the values of family and motherhood that were at the heart of Mary Poppins itself. Walt Disney's gesture of postponing the start of filming for Mary Poppins to accommodate Julie Andrews' pregnancy was a touching act of kindness, and it remains a heartwarming chapter in the legacy of the film. The iconic showdown between Mary Poppins and My Fair Lady that followed was a cinematic event that captured the world's attention. Two of the most celebrated actresses of their time, Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn, were at the heart of this box office battle. Julie had been chosen by Disney to play the magical nanny in Mary Poppins, while Audrey starred as Eliza Doolittle in the My Fair Lady movie. The stakes were sky high and the competition was fierce. In an unexpected twist, Mary Poppins emerged as the winner, captivating audiences around the globe and surpassing My Fair Lady at the box office. The film became a cultural phenomenon, a timeless story of a magical nanny bringing joy to children and adults alike. Julie Andrews' portrayal of Mary Poppins not only won over hearts but also earned her the highest honors in the industry, including an Oscar and a Golden Globe, solidifying her status as a cinematic legend. Despite the intense competition, the rivalry that many might have expected between Julie and Audrey never materialized. Instead, the two actresses remained good friends throughout the entire ordeal, showing grace and class. Their friendship is a beautiful reminder of the warmth and mutual respect that defined their careers. Moreover, Julie Andrews' relationship with Christopher Plummer, who starred alongside her in The Sound of Music, has become another fascinating Hollywood story. What began as initial friction between the two turned into a deep and lasting friendship, showing the remarkable transformations that can occur in the world of film. The relationship between Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer started off on a rocky note during the filming of The Sound of Music. Plummer, a seasoned actor, initially found Andrews insufferable and annoying. This sentiment may have stemmed from the pressures surrounding the production of such a beloved, iconic film, as well as the challenges of working as co-stars in a high-stakes environment. At one point, Plummer referred to Andrews dismissively as Ms. Disney, a remark reflecting his frustration with the film's strong association with Disney. However, as time went on and they worked together more closely, Plummer's perspective shifted. He came to realize that his initial judgment of Andrews had been unfair, and he began to see her in a new light. He appreciated her not only for her immense talent but also for her grace and professionalism. The tension that had existed between them eventually gave way to mutual admiration and respect. This transformation in their relationship highlighted the dynamic and evolving nature of co-stars' connections in the entertainment industry. At the same time, Julie Andrews was navigating a heartbreaking personal struggle. Her marriage to her first husband, Tony Walton, was slowly unraveling. The contrast between her professional success and the turmoil in her personal life was stark. The demands of her career, including long filming schedules and frequent travel to distant locations, created emotional and physical distance between the couple. Despite their best efforts to salvage their relationship, the mounting pressures eventually led to the dissolution of their marriage. Julie Andrews' life is undeniably filled with both tragedy and triumph, creating a narrative that resonates deeply with so many people. Her story begins in a challenging and often heartbreaking way, but it is also marked by her unyielding strength, grace, and ability to turn pain into something beautiful. As a child, Andrews' early years were tainted by the trauma of a difficult home life. She was exposed to disturbing circumstances at a young age, with her stepfather, Ted Andrews, displaying unsettling behavior toward her. These traumatic experiences left deep emotional scars, and as a teenager, she had to take drastic steps, such as bolting her bedroom door for safety to protect herself from further harm. This painful period, however, did not deter her from pursuing her passion for performance. Despite the personal turmoil, she continued to work tirelessly in theater, participating in pantomimes and performing on the London stage, always striving to make a better life for herself and her family. Her career in theater flourished, and Julie's incredible talent was undeniable. She made history by performing at the London Palladium at the young age of 12, and her performances on stage quickly earned her recognition. However, her dreams of a Hollywood career were delayed when MGM decided not to sign her, despite conducting a screen test for her. Yet Julie Andrews' unwavering dedication to her craft led her to more opportunities, and her involvement in the British pantomime tradition gave her additional exposure, even though it meant sacrificing the traditional education that many of her peers were afforded. Despite the trauma of her youth, Andrews' career continued to soar. At just 18 years old, she was given the lead role in an American production of The Boyfriend, marking the beginning of her international career. Leaving her family behind and venturing to the United States was no small decision, yet it would prove to be a pivotal moment that launched her into stardom. Her subsequent success in both Broadway and London theater solidified her position as one of the most talented performers of her generation. However, her journey to stardom was not without obstacles. When she was cast as Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, her co-star, the seasoned actor Rex Harrison, was openly opposed to her casting, attempting to have her replaced. This would have been a devastating blow for any young actress, yet Julie Andrews remained undeterred. With the support of director Moss Hart, she was able to prove herself in the role, earning admiration for her dedication and talent. Her transformation as Eliza Doolittle, especially after intensive training, led her to become one of the most celebrated performers in the world. Throughout her career, Andrews also found herself surrounded by significant personal relationships. One of the most heartwarming and beautiful stories in her life is her relationship with Tony Walton, whom she married in 1959. Their love story began with a simple, charming encounter when Walton, captivated by Andrews' performance in a pantomime, found himself seated in the front row. A chance meeting on a train further deepened their connection, and before long, they became inseparable. Their marriage, which welcomed a daughter in 1962, was a true partnership, with Walton contributing creatively to her work, particularly designing the sets for Mary Poppins. However, the pressures of their careers, the demands of the entertainment industry, and the physical separation caused by Andrews' frequent work commitments began to strain their marriage. Despite their best efforts to make the relationship work, they divorced in 1967. The dissolution of their marriage was a painful chapter in Andrews' life, but remarkably, they managed to maintain a deep and respectful friendship afterward. Andrew's ability to navigate such an emotionally difficult situation with dignity and grace further exemplifies her strength of character. Her life took another turn when she met Blake Edwards in the late 1950s, a meeting that would lead to another chapter of love and devotion. Their initial encounter was a charming, almost serendipitous moment, marked by a conversation in a therapist's parking lot. Edwards, a director who would go on to make iconic films, was struck by Andrews' presence, and from there, their relationship blossomed into a deep love story. Despite the emotional turmoil Edwards faced due to depression, the couple remained committed to each other, proving that true love isn't defined by perfection, but by the willingness to weather life's storms together. The personal and professional challenges that Julie Andrews faced were truly monumental, yet her career continued to thrive. The moment when she was passed over for the film version of My Fair Lady in favor of Audrey Hepburn was a painful setback, as it seemed like the role that had been rightfully hers had slipped away. Yet fate had something extraordinary in store for her. Walt Disney, after seeing her in Camelot, offered her the role of Mary Poppins, a character that would become an iconic part of both her career and cinematic history. Her casting was especially significant because Andrews was pregnant at the time, but Disney, showing great foresight and compassion, postponed the filming to accommodate her, further cementing his belief in her extraordinary talent. When Mary Poppins was released, it faced an epic showdown at the box office against My Fair Lady, with both films being high-profile adaptations of beloved musicals. Andrews' performance as the magical nanny not only beat Audrey Hepburn's portrayal of Eliza Doolittle, but became a cultural phenomenon. The film's success marked a new high in her career, and she earned both an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for her portrayal. This victory, in many ways, seemed to be the crowning achievement of her long, hard-fought career. Yet it didn't diminish the bond she shared with Audrey Hepburn. Despite the fierce competition, the two actresses remained close friends, which speaks to the professionalism, grace, and mutual respect they held for one another. In her later years, Julie Andrews' relationship with Christopher Plummer, with whom she starred in The Sound of Music, provides a poignant example of how relationships in Hollywood can evolve. Initially, Plummer was openly critical of Andrews, even referring to her as Ms. Disney, a remark that seemed to dismiss her talents and the type of roles she had been known for. However, as time passed and they worked together more closely, Plummer came to admire and respect Andrews, leading to a deep friendship that would last for decades. Despite the challenges of her personal life, the heartbreak of her divorce, and the pressures of her career, Julie Andrews' journey has been one of remarkable resilience, elegance, and a refusal to let the darker moments define her. Her ability to overcome personal trauma and professional setbacks while maintaining a sense of grace is something that makes her life truly inspirational. She has not only triumphed in her professional life, but has also shown the world that true strength is not measured by success alone, but by how we rise from our struggles, handle adversity, and continue to find joy in life. Julie Andrews remains, to this day, a symbol of perseverance, kindness, and the enduring power of the human spirit.